Your parents didn't mean to hurt you, but they did. Every time they said stop crying, they taught you your emotions were wrong. Every time they compared you to your sibling, they planted a seed of inadequacy that still grows inside you. Every time they gave you the silent treatment, they showed you that love is conditional. The wounds we carry from childhood shape every relationship we have. And the worst part, they were doing exactly what was done to them. This is generational trauma, patterns of psychological manipulation passed down like a genetic disease, invisible but devastating, hidden wounds shaping your life. Today, we're going to expose 10 ways your parents unconsciously manipulated you, not to blame them, but to finally understand why you are the way you are. Because you cannot heal what you refuse to see. Emotional dismissal. Picture this. You're 7 years old, your pet goldfish dies. You run to your mother, tears streaming down your face, and she says, "It's just a fish. Stop being so dramatic." In that moment, something breaks inside you, not because of the fish, but because you learn that your feelings are an inconvenience. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Psychologist John S. Webb calls this childhood emotional neglect. And it's not about what happened to you, but what didn't happen. Your emotions weren't validated. Your pain wasn't witnessed. And so you learned to suppress, to minimize, to push everything down until you couldn't feel anything at all. Now you're an adult who says I'm fine when you're dying inside. You intellectualize your feelings instead of experiencing them. You feel guilty for having needs. Your emotions were silenced. Your parents weren't cruel. They simply didn't have the emotional vocabulary to handle their own feelings, let alone yours. But the damage was done. And speaking of damage, there's another wound that cuts even deeper. Toxic comparison. Why can't you be more like your sister? Your brother got straight A's, what's your excuse? Look at your cousin, he's already successful at your age. Comparison. These words become the soundtrack of your inadequacy. Research from the University of California found that children who are constantly compared to siblings develop chronic self-doubt that persists into adulthood. They become adults who never feel good enough, no matter how much they achieve. You measure your worth against everyone around you. Your parents thought they were motivating you. They believed that showing you someone better would push you to improve. But what they actually did was plant the belief that your value is always relative, always measured against someone else. And so you grew up competing instead of collaborating, jealous instead of inspired, never celebrating your wins because someone else always seems to be winning bigger. Comparison is the thief of joy. You don't need to be better than anyone. You need to be better than who you were yesterday. But there's an even more insidious form of manipulation that shaped your entire personality. Conditional love. Here's a question that might break you. Did your parents love you, or did they love what you did for them? Conditional love is the most common and destructive form of childhood manipulation. It's subtle. It's never stated outright, but you felt it. You felt loved when you got good grades, when you behaved, when you made them proud, when you were quiet, obedient, perfect. Love only when you perform. And you felt their withdrawal, the coldness, the disappointment, the silent treatment, when you failed to meet their expectations. Carl Rogers, the father of humanistic psychology, distinguished between conditional and unconditional positive regard. Children who receive unconditional love develop a stable sense of self-worth. Children who receive conditional love, they develop a fragmented identity, always shape-shifting to earn approval. You became whoever you needed to be loved. Now you're an adult who doesn't know who you really are. You've spent so long performing that you've lost yourself. You struggle to set boundaries because you're terrified of losing love. Your authentic self was never safe enough to emerge. But this connects to something even more disturbing about how you were controlled. Guilt weaponized. After everything I've done for you, I sacrificed my career for you. Do you know how much pain you're causing me? Guilt is a weapon that parents use to control their children long after childhood ends. Guilt is the invisible leash. You can leave home, move across the world, build your own life, but guilt keeps you tied to your parents' expectations. This is what psychologists call emotional manipulation through obligation. Your parents may have genuinely sacrificed for you, but when those sacrifices are constantly reminded and used as leverage, they become weapons. Now you struggle to say no. You feel responsible for everyone's emotions. You can't make decisions without wondering how others will react. You apologize for existing. You feel guilty for being happy when others are suffering. Guilt became your prison. Your parents weren't trying to trap you. They were passing down the same guilt that was passed to them. But understanding the origin doesn't erase the programming. And here's where it gets even more complicated, because sometimes the manipulation wasn't obvious at all. Invisible neglect. Not all wounds bleed. Some parents were physically present but emotionally absent. They provided food, shelter, clothing, but they never asked how you felt, never noticed when you were struggling, never really saw you. You can be surrounded by people and still feel completely alone. This is invisible neglect, and it's often harder to recognize than obvious abuse because there's nothing to point to. No bruises, no screaming, just nothing. Attachment theory, developed by John Bowlby, shows that children need emotional attunement, not just physical care. They need to feel seen, heard, understood. Without this, they develop what's called avoidant attachment, a deep fear of intimacy masked as independence. You learn to need nobody because nobody was there. Now you struggle with emotional intimacy. You pull away when people get too close. You pride yourself on not needing anyone, but deep down, you're terrified of being truly known. Alone in a crowded room. Your parents weren't villains. They might have been overwhelmed, depressed, or simply never taught how to emotionally connect. But the void they left still echoes inside you. And this connects directly to the next manipulation that shaped your identity. Identity robbery. You're going to be a doctor. You're the responsible one. You're just like your father. From the moment you were born, you were assigned a role. Not based on who you are, but based on who your parents needed you to be. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Family systems theory explains how each child in a family is unconsciously assigned a role. The golden child, the scapegoat, the invisible one, the caretaker. These roles serve the family's dysfunction, but they steal your identity. Stolen. Maybe you were parentified, forced to be the emotional caretaker of your parents when you were just a child. Maybe you were the family's success story, carrying everyone's dreams on your shoulders. Maybe you were the problem child, labeled as difficult so everyone else could feel normal. You spent your childhood being who they needed. Now you're an adult asking the terrifying question, who am I when I'm not playing a role? Your authentic self was buried so deep that you might not even know it exists. But the manipulation goes even deeper into how your beliefs were shaped. Fear programming. The world is dangerous. People can't be trusted. Money is hard to come by. Don't take risks, you'll fail. Your parents didn't just raise you, they programmed you. And most of that programming was fear-based. Fear was installed in you. Neuroscience shows that children's brains are essentially recording devices for the first 7 years of life. They absorb everything, beliefs, fears, attitudes, without any filter. Whatever your parents believed became your unconscious operating system. If your parents were anxious, you absorbed anxiety. If they believed the world was hostile, you learned to see threats everywhere. If they played it safe, you inherited a fear of risk. Children are not taught fear. They catch it from the adults around them. Now you find yourself held back by fears you can't explain. Opportunities pass you by because something inside screams danger. You stay in your comfort zone not by choice, but by programming. Your limits are not yours, they were inherited. The good news: programs can be rewritten. But first, you need to see another invisible manipulation that controls your self-worth. Praise addiction. Here's something that sounds positive but was actually manipulation. Constant praise for performance. Good job, you're so smart, you're the best. Sounds harmless, right? Even healthy. It was programming you for addiction. Psychologist Carol Dweck's research on fixed versus growth mindset revealed something disturbing. Children who are praised for being smart, talented, or special develop a fixed mindset. They become addicted to external validation. They avoid challenges because failure threatens their identity. Praise became your drug. Now you're an adult who needs constant reassurance. You fish for compliments. You're devastated by criticism. You achieve and achieve and achieve, but it's never enough because you're chasing a feeling, not a goal. We don't praise children for effort. We praise them for results, and we create approval addicts. Your parents wanted to build your confidence. Instead, they made your self-worth dependent on external feedback. You perform for applause that never satisfies. You don't need more praise. You need to find worth inside yourself. But there's one more manipulation that might be the most subtle of all: boundary erasure. Did your parents read your diary, walk into your room without knocking, demand to know every detail of your life, dismiss your no as disrespect, violation? Boundaries are the invisible lines that define where you end and others begin. When parents repeatedly cross those lines, even with good intentions, they teach you that your boundaries don't matter. Your body isn't fully yours. Your thoughts aren't private. Your no means nothing. Your limits meant nothing. Psychologist Henry Cloud explains that children who grow up without boundaries become adults with two problems. They can't say no to others, and they can't hear no from others. You give too much and accept too little. Now you're a people pleaser. You let others walk all over you. Or you've swung to the other extreme, walls so high that no one can get in. Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. Neither walls nor doormats are healthy, but healing requires understanding how you lost your boundaries in the first place. And this brings us to the final manipulation, one that holds all the others together: silent culture. We don't talk about that. What happens in this family stays in this family. Don't air our dirty laundry. The most powerful manipulation isn't what was said, it's what was forbidden to be said. Family secrets become family prisons. Every family has an unspoken rule book, topics that are off limits, emotions that are forbidden, truths that must never be named, addiction, mental illness, abuse, failure. These become the elephants in the room, massive realities that everyone pretends don't exist. Silence protects the dysfunction. Psychotherapist John Bradshaw called this the no-talk rule, and it's the foundation of family dysfunction. When pain can't be spoken, it can't be healed. It just gets passed down. The things we don't say become the things that destroy us. Now you struggle to be vulnerable. You've internalized that certain truths are dangerous. You hide parts of yourself from others and from yourself. The secrets you keep are keeping you sick. Breaking the silence is the first step to breaking the cycle, because the only way out is through, and through means finally speaking what was never allowed to be spoken. Your parents didn't have a manual. They raised you the only way they knew how, the way they were raised. They passed down wounds they never healed, patterns they never examined, traumas they never processed. This isn't about blame, it's about awareness. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. You cannot change what happened to you, but you can change what happens next. You can be the one who breaks the cycle, the one who heals the generational wounds, the one who gives their future children or their future self what they never received. Break the cycle now. The pain ends with you, or it continues through you. It's your choice. And the fact that you're here, watching this, asking these hard questions, that's already the beginning of transformation. Welcome to the Psyche Project. If this video opened your eyes, subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Until next time, keep exploring your psyche.